I'm super excited to be joined here with my buddy Fahad here, who's got some great questions about becoming a jet broker. And let's get into some questions. So what was the one you just asked me about my first deal?
Yeah, so I asked Tom about, being a broker is tough. So I asked him like, hey, how was your first deal? How was your first jet that you brokered, as an agent?
Yeah, man,
How
my
was the
my first
experience?
deal was kind of interesting. I remember it was a legacy citation, and
Okay.
it was not like the showroom jet. It was a legacy citation that was running out of time in the engines. It was the perfect plane for someone that wanted to dip their foot into private aviation at a fair price point, but didn't need to fly it hundreds and hundreds of hours. The avionics were minimally upgraded. Interior, exterior were fine, but what I remember most about it is it went into pre-buy. And when it went into pre-buy, I get a call later that night from the shop. And
Okay.
when I pick up the phone, I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? How's the pre-buy going?" They're like, "Well, everything's going well, except one of our maintenance guys knocked over a canister of NO2, nitrogen, and
Mhm.
when it hit the floor, it actually popped off the cap of the nitrogen canister, and it punctured a hole in the side of the aircraft." So they're sitting there during a pre-buy, it's under contract, and now all of a sudden we have a hole in the aircraft. And so I spent the next, 24 hours researching what was going on. Again, I'm brand new into aviation. I find out, fortunately it was in a non-pressurized part of the jet. It was, big enough that they could, small enough that they could patch it up, and it wasn't too big. And so we were going to be able to, make this solve this problem. Unfortunately, the buyer that we had at the time decided to pass on the aircraft. He was a first time buyer. He didn't want to get into any sort of project, which it wouldn't have been anyway. But I totally understand. Like, there's a hole in your plane. We got to fix it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, at the time, we had some backup offers, and we were able to pitch it to another one of our buyers. And that was my first sale, selling a plane with a hole in it from a pre-buy. So it was pretty crazy. But what I came to find is, every single deal was going to have some sort of element of surprise to it, and that just set me up for that expectation. Like, okay, it's not if, it's when something happens. How are you going to handle it, and how are you going to problem solve it?